a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. John Payne, actor. John Howard Payne was an American film actor who is mainly remembered from film noir crime stories and 20th Century Fox musical films, and for his leading roles in Miracle on 34th Street and the NBC Western television series The Restless Gun. Early life. Payne was born in Roanoke, Virginia. His mother, Ida Hope, a singer, graduated from the Virginia Seminary in Roanoke and married George Washington Payne, a developer in Roanoke. They lived at Fort Lewis, an antebellum mansion that became a state historic property, but was destroyed by fire in the late 1940s. Payne attended prep school at Mercersburg Academy in Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, and then went to Roanoke College in Salem, Virginia. He then transferred to Columbia University in New York City in the fall of 1930. He studied drama at Columbia and voice at the Juilliard School. To support himself, he took on a variety of odd jobs, including wrestling as Alexei Petrov, the Savage of the Steppes, and boxing as Tiger Jack Payne. He returned to his home frequently for visits. In 1942, while visiting his family in Roanoke, Virginia, he agreed to take a small role in a community theater production of The Man Who Came to Dinner at the Academy of Music on Salem Avenue. His character uttered only 4 words of dialogue, and was greeted by a burst of applause. Stage actor. In 1934, a talent scout for the Shubert Theaters spotted Payne and gave him a job as a stock player. He appeared in Road Company productions of Rosemary and the Student Prince at $40 a week. Payne toured with several Shubert Brothers shows, and frequently sang on New York-based radio programs. On Broadway he appeared in The Review at Home Abroad alongside Eleanor Powell and Beatrice Lillie. He understudied for Reginald Gardner and took over one night. He was seen by Fred Colmer of Sam Goldwyn's company, and was offered a movie contract. Early films. In 1936, he left New York for Hollywood. He tested for a role in Goldwyn's Come and Get It, but lost out to Frank Shields. His first role in Goldwyn's Dodsworth presented him as an affable, handsome character actor. He had the male lead in Hats Off, an independent B film. Goldwyn announced plans to co-star him with Miriam Hopkins in The Woman's Touch, but the film appears to have not been made. In September 1936, it was announced Goldwyn would not sell half of Payne's contract to Columbia, and that he might be the lead in Women Can Be Wrong. Payne was third billed in Fair Warning, A, B, at Fox. He was the lead in a low-budget film Love on Toast. Payne was down the cast list for Paramount's College Swing. He then signed a contract with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers. At Warner's, he had a notable break replacing Dick Powell, who turned down the role in Garden of the Moon. Warner's used Payne as a sort of backup Dick Powell. He was in Kid Nightingale and Wings of the Navy. Payne supported Dan Sheridan in Indianapolis Speedway, and starred in a short The Royal Rodeo and in B's King of the Lumberjacks and Tear Gas Squad. During this time he returned to Broadway to appear in Abe Lincoln in Illinois. Payne was unhappy with his Warner Brothers roles and asked for a release. 20th Century Fox. Payne went over to 20th Century Fox where he appeared in Stardust. During filming, Darryl F. Zanuck offered him a long-term contract. He supported Walter Brennan in Maryland and John Barrymore in The Great Profile. Payne was the male lead in the enormously popular Tin Pan Alley with Alice Faye and Betty Grable. He romanced Faye in The Great American Broadcast, Sonja Henie in Sun Valley Serenade, and Faye in Weekend in Havana. Fox gave him the chance to do drama in Remember the Day, romancing Claudette Colbert. He was meant to be in Song of the Islands with Grable, but when George Raft couldn't get released from Warner's Brothers to play a Marine in a hugely popular To the Shores of Tripoli, Payne stepped in. The film, co-starring Maureen O'Hara and Randolph Scott, was hugely popular. So too was Footlight Serenade with Grable and Victor Mature, Springtime in the Rockies with Grable, Iceland with Henie, and especially Hello, Frisco, Hello with Faye. During World War II, Payne served as a flight instructor in the United States Army Air Corps. He got out of the services in September 1944. He returned to work at Fox, who put him in The Dolly Sisters with Grable and June Haver, playing Harry Fox. It was one of Payne's most successful films. Less popular was Wake Up and Dream with Haver. Payne was teamed with Maureen O'Hara in Sentimental Journey, a big hit. He was third billed in The Razor's Edge underneath Tyrone Power and Gene Tierney. Fox's most prestigious film of 1946. Payne's most familiar role may be his final film for Fox, that of attorney Fred Gailey in the classic holiday favorite Miracle on 34th Street with Natalie Wood, Maureen O'Hara and Edmund Gwenn. It was another box office success. He was meant to make another with O'Hara, Sitting Pretty. However, in October 1947 he got his release from the studio, despite the contract having another 4 years to run, which would have bought him $670,000. Payne claimed he was dissatisfied with the roles being offered him. Payne later said he had asked for his release every week for 8 months before he got it. Film historian Janine Basinger later wrote that Fox thought of him, Payne, as a secondary Tyrone Power. They didn't know how to use him. Freelance actor. After leaving Fox, Payne attempted to change his image and began playing tough guy roles in Hollywood films noir. He did 2 noir at Universal, Larceny, where he played the lead role, and The Saxon Charm with Robert Montgomery and Susan Hayward. He had the lead in The Crooked Way, for United Artists. Pine Thomas Productions. Payne received an offer to star in a Western for Pine Thomas Productions, a unit that operated out of Paramount Studios. El Paso was a box office success and Payne went on to make other films for the company including Captain China, an adventure film, Tripoli set during the Barbary War, and The Eagle and the Hawk, a Western. He signed a contract to make 3 more films for Pine Thomas. He did Passage West, another Western, and Crosswinds, an adventure film, Caribbean Gold, a pirate film, The Blazing Forest, an adventure story, The Vanquished, a Western. Payne shrewdly insisted that the films he appeared in be filmed in color and that the rights to the films revert to him after several years, making him wealthy when he rented them to television. In 1952 he said he got 4 times the fan mail he did at Fox. I make fewer pictures now, but I make the kind I want to make. Other independent producers. For Edward Small, he starred in Kansas City Confidential, and Noir. Payne owned 25% of the film. He later worked with Small on Raiders of the Seven Seas, a pirate movie, and 99 River Street, and Noir. Payne did a series of westerns, Silver Lode, for Benedict Bogos, Rails into Laramie, for Universal, Santa Fe Passage and the Road to Denver at Republic, and Tennessee's Partner, for Bogos. In 1955, he paid a $1,000 a month option for 9 months on the Ian Fleming James Bond novel Moonraker. He returned to Pine Thomas for a noir, Hell's Island, then did Slightly Scarlet for Bogos. He made Hold Back the Night for Allied Artists and The Boss for United Artists, co-producing the latter. He did Rebel in Town and Hidden Fear for United Artists. He made one more Pine Thomas, Bailout at $43,000. In 1957 he optioned the rights for the Life of Me, the memoir of a newspaper editor, but it was not made. Television. Payne also starred as Vint Bonner, an educated, common-sense gunfighter, in The Restless Gun, which aired on the National Broadcasting Company on Monday evenings from 1957 to 1959, prior to Dale Robertson's Western series Tales of Wells Fargo. Dan Blocker, James Coburn, and Don Grady made their first substantive acting forays with Payne on The Restless Gun. On October 31, 1957, as The Restless Gun began airing, Payne guest starred on The Ford Show, starring Tennessee Ernie Ford. Accident. In March 1961, Payne suffered extensive, life-threatening injuries when struck by a car in New York City. His recovery took 2 years. In his later roles, facial scars from the accident can be detected in close-ups. He chose not to have them removed. One of Payne's first public appearances during this period was as a guest panelist on the popular CBS Sunday night game show What's My Line? In the December 3, 1961 episode, regular panelist Dorothy Kilgallen introduced Payne by saying, "He's been in the hospital after a very bad accident. So it's good to see him fit as a fiddle and all in one piece." and regular panelist Bennett Cerf remarked, "Good to see you here, John. Glad to see you beat that car on Madison Avenue that bumped into you." Later career. Payne directed one of his last films, They Ran for Their Lives, and again teamed up with Alice Faye in a 1974 revival of the musical Good News. He also starred in the Gunsmoke episode of Gentry's Law in 1970. His final role was in 1975, when he co-starred with Peter Falk and Janet Leigh in the Columbo episode, Forgotten Lady. Later in life, Payne, like former Daniel Boone Davy Crockett series star Fess Parker, became wealthy through real estate investments in Southern California. Personal life. Payne was married to actress Anne Shirley from 1937 to 1942. They had a daughter, Julianne Payne. After their divorce, Payne then married actress Gloria DeHaven in 1944. The union produced 2 children, Kathleen Hope Payne and Thomas John Payne, before ending in a divorce in 1950. Payne then married Alexandra Beryl, Sandy Crowell Curtis in 1953, and remained with her until his death. He was the father-in-law of writer-director Robert Towne, who was married to his oldest daughter Julie until their divorce in 1982. His name was romantically linked to Eleanor Powell in 1936. Payne was a Republican, and in October 1960 he was one of many conservative notables who drove in the Nixon-lodged bumper sticker motorcade in Los Angeles. Death. Payne died in Malibu, California, of congestive heart failure on December 6, 1989, aged 77. His ashes were scattered into the Pacific Ocean. He has 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, in motion pictures and television. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?